Hello, everyone. Good evening. Hope you're doing well. So, what a crazy week in Canada, isn't it? I've been following a lot of action on the Telegram groups. Oh boy, a lot of people are upset. A lot of people. So, just to let you guys know, we are not alone in how we think. But anyways, today we are going to be talking about the topic that got me punished last time I did this on the tubes of you. I got punished and I got a 1-week ban. So hopefully, but that was back when I was talking about the vaccine passports. Back then I talked about it. It was a conspiracy theory that this was going to happen. But now that we're like actually rolling out vaccine passports in provinces, not a conspiracy theory anymore. So hopefully this won't get banned because the mainstream media is talking about it. Everyone's talking about it. So we shall see. We shall see. Yes, I am the zucchini assassin. So very crazy week. BC now has decided that they're going to implement the vaccine passport. So we're going to get into that. So that's 3 provinces in Canada. We are going to break it all down, and we're going to get into the whole exemption portion of it. Like, should you get a medical exemption, a religious exemption, towards that? And yeah, I'm going to have to go there, guys. I'm going to have to, again, talk to you about the Nazis. You know what? If the government could stop behaving like Nazis, I could legit stop talking about it. I could actually stop making these comparisons. But you know what? Every day I wake up, the government's done one more thing that shows me, oh boy, yeah, they're actually implementing the Nazi agenda, the Nazi values, or some kind of a Nazi protocol. Absolutely unbelievable. Okay, deep breath for that one, guys. Hey guys in the chat, so happy you're here. I see a lot of the same team freedom over here. So Binks, Phenox is here, Faye's here, guys, so we can start immediately. We don't need to talk about nonsense while we wait for her. Verbal Armament, D-Beat, you're here too. Welcome, everyone. And yeah, what political foolishness. Is this true? This I didn't know. Yeah, there's FDA approval. See, I don't really know about that stuff, like what goes on for approval. I don't really know, so I can't really speak to that. To me, it doesn't matter. They can approve everything. They could approve heroin, but if they come and say heroin is going to be mandated for you, you must all be on heroin starting September 1st. I would be like, you know what? No, it doesn't matter what they approve. I don't care what they approve. I care about freedom and our ability to choose. So yeah, absolutely maddening what is happening this week. And it's just, yeah, I don't even know, like every week I come on here and I think, you know, it can't get crazy. It just can't get, it's already nuts. It can't get crazier. And yet it does get crazier. And there's still people out there who still think this is about a virus. And I'm just shocked and appalled and saddened that this is where we think we're at. But anyways, let's start it off with a little bit of Twitter, and I'll show you something Justin Trudeau posted this week. And I thought it was a joke at first. I'm thinking maybe he's trolling us. But this is a tweet from Justin Trudeau from the official government of Canada, Twitter. See, blue check mark. And he actually says, on Black Ribbon Day, we remember the victims of communism and Nazism. We stand with the survivors and their descendants, and with all those who continue to face violence and persecution from authoritarian and totalitarian regimes. Like, honestly, how do it feels like it's a Twilight Zone, because I think he's joking. I think he's trolling all of us. He's entirely mocking us to our faces by saying that we remember the victims. I guess, well, okay, let's look at it a different way. Let's look at it from the Trudeau way. We're just remembering the victims of communism. Maybe he means that in the way that we remember them, but we also need to bring them back. So we need to create more victims of communism and Nazism. Maybe that's what he means. He definitely stands with the survivors, because a lot of the survivors are in Canada, their families, they've come here. And those who continue to face violence, I mean, I guess he stands with us as he puts the violence into our society. I guess he does. So I guess if you look at it from that perspective, his tweet is kind of legit and accurate. But it's just so amazing to me that while our government is implementing pure Nazi strategies, and we're going to get into that today. I'll show you what Nazi strategy they just implemented. And while they're doing that, they're also standing with the victims of Nazism. So anyways, if you're new to this stream or this channel or whatever, I talk about Nazism a lot, but I don't do it in an effort to be to generate attention from it. I'm doing a legit historical comparison. A lot of you have been here for a while. You already know I have a degree in history. This is my jam. This is what I know. I can identify these tactics very quickly, but I'm especially good in the Nazi era because I've studied it so much. So this is why. So when I make a comparison to Nazism, just saying this for any newbies in the chat, when I compare it to Nazism, it is not a live comparison. It is an actual historical, researched comparison. So that disclaimer's out. Let's get into this. Oh, hello from locked in Australia. Oh boy. Glenn, I feel so bad for you guys in Australia. It's not as bad in Canada yet, but you guys in Australia, yeah, it's so sad. Yeah, this is true. I can't actually say this. Hello, Elizabeth. I can't actually say this here. I see some of you guys talking about Ford and then conservatives. I'm sorry to say this, guys, but yeah, this is 100% right. Don't get fooled by Doug Ford saying we're not going to implement passports in Ontario. That is the biggest lie. You know how politicians always lie? They always say two things at the same time, and then they hope you forgot one of the two things. They hope you have selective hearing and you only hear what you want to hear, because they say all of it. They say everything. They say all lies possible. That's all politicians. So when he says there's not going to be any vaccine passports, what he really was meaning to say is we're not bringing the passports in yet. See, that they just drop that important piece of information at the end of a sentence. It's just the yet. The yet is not here. So it's coming. It's coming to all the provinces and the territories. So Derek, greetings in Vancouver. You guys are now mandated to get the vaccine if you want to have a normal life. So congrats on your next level communism over there. So sorry this is happening to you. So how these passports? They're very, very. It's very clear that they are taken from Nazi Germany, and this is how. If you look at the Pass, have you ever heard of this, guys? The Pass. This is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to cover this. This is the ancestor pass. It was used as soon as Hitler got into power. One of the first things he did is he started cleaning up the bloodlines, making sure you were a true Aryan, true German blood. And remember when we did the series on the Nazis, we talked about how they brought in the Nuremberg laws, where they actually made it so that if one of your grandparents was a Jew, then you were considered to be a Jew. So this was just a few years before, just 2 years before they came out with this. And not very many people remember this pass. It's right here, Pass, and it translates to ancestor pass. And what this did is you would get a little booklet, and it was a 32-page booklet where you would go through your family lineage. So you would write down your family lineage and you would bring it to an official Nazi representative, and they would stamp it with their little their little stamp of approval that you were indeed of decent lineage. And you needed this because initially when they got in, they cleaned out the public service. So there's, let me see, there's another article here. I'm just gonna show you because it talks about the jobs that they cleaned out. So it was to who was and who was not a Jew in order to clean out public servants. So people who worked for the government in Germany, they can no longer be Jews. So this is before they went after the universities, the shop owners, like all of those private business. So isn't it interesting that we are now in the same scenario where we are being cleaned out in this world of vaccine passports where they're mandating this vaccine for you to have a job. So just like it was before, to be a public servant under Nazi Germany, you had to have, your ancestry had to be clean Aryan lineage. In this new world, you have to have clean vaccinated blood. Unvaccinated, you can no longer work in public service. It's coming to the private businesses soon. Check this out here. I don't know if you guys saw. Air Canada said now, all of y'all who work for us need to be vaxxed by October 4th. So mandatory COVID-19 vaccination for all employees and new hires. And it has to be by October 4th. So this is, it's still a private company technically, but really it could be argued that they're owned by the government because we could just give them so much tax dollars at this point. But they have to, it's October 30th. They have to be fully vaccinated by October 30th. So unpaid leave or termination for anybody who chooses not to. So with the vaccine passport comes the coercion. So you cannot have, in a free society, you cannot have a vaccine passport without also bringing in the underlying apartheid. So we are now in an apartheid society. They have now brought this in, and that is what the passport does. It is far, far worse than just mandating this vaccine. The actual passport is what ties us directly to a Nazi strategy. It is the exact replica. So the passport is exactly like this passport here, the Ahnenpass, which determined your lineage and if you were able to work as a civil servant or not. We know in Nazi Germany 2 years later, so in September of 35, they came out and they said, oh, well, now they went after private business. So it took 2 years from the vaccine passport of Nazi Germany, if you want. It took them 2 years to go straight after private business. And if we don't think they're going to do that here, we have learned nothing ever from history. This is coming to private businesses too. So the vaccine passport does not allow you to go into restaurants, movie theaters, whatever, wherever they want that they say vaccination, hotels, whatever. So it now has de facto created a two-tier society. There's a group of people who can go in and do things, and there's a group of people who are not able to do those same things. Now, in Canada, we do have a Charter of Rights. We're supposed to have a Charter of Rights, right? How the vaccine passport is in accordance or even legal, according to this human charter, the Charter of Human Rights, is beyond me. I don't even understand how it's possible to implement such a thing in a free and democratic society. And just to give you a little bit of the ultimate in irony, because, you know, the tweet from Trudeau wasn't enough. Here we have in Manitoba, the Human Rights Museum. In order for you to go into the Human Rights Museum, you need to be vaccinated. So maybe it's just to show you like how human rights were before, and now we're into a new era and human rights have gone out the door. So maybe this is a historical museum. Like this is what it was like back when we had human rights. Maybe that's the goal. But I find it really ironic that to get into the Human Rights Museum, you need to have your vaccine passport. You need to be double vaxxed. It's the level of irony is beyond. And how this is happening in Canada, still entirely boggles my mind. And in a way, we've kind of let this happen as all these people that got the double jab, now they need to side with freedom. I really hope they do. I really hope they do. If they don't side with freedom, we are lost. It's because I don't know if there's enough of us unvaxxed left out there to carry this. It's said that to change a society, you don't need that many people, but you need strong people. So I'm hoping that there's enough of us left that, and I don't even care. You want to get the jab, go get the jab. I don't care. Like, it's your body, your choice. That I truly believe that. It's your freedom. But how is it that a government can coerce me, first of all, by threatening me to lose my job, or threatening me to restrict my access into our society, which is directly against the Charter of Human Rights of Canada that says that we have equitable rights in Canada. We cannot be discriminated based on race, sex, disability, any of those things. But now we can, because they've introduced the possibility that you can be discriminated against if you're unvaxxed. And that is directly against the Charter of Rights. There is no way that's acceptable. So the lawyers are coming out. That's a little bit of good news for you. The lawyers are coming out. If you guys go on Telegram and you just look for these groups, you can find them very easily. And you'll see all these people in these industries who are not taking the jab. They're fighting this. They're waiting to get let go. And there's going to be a lot of them. And hopefully we can all kind of form some kind of a coalition. And hopefully we have some freedom lovers from the jab side who are willing to stand up for the freedom of our country. And by the way, how many Canadians went and fought the Nazis, right? How many of you guys have grandpas who went to fight the Nazis in the 40s? So all the price we've paid for our freedom in Canada has been intense. We've paid with a lot of blood, even though we never even had a war in Canada. We've paid with a lot of blood. And that was to preserve the freedom of other people. So I really hope that we can stand up and preserve our own freedoms here, because this vaccine passport is against our freedoms. It is creating a two-tier society exactly like the Nazis did. They created their two-tier society with their on and pass. This is the on and pass. Let's get back to it because this is super important, guys. So I'm going to keep showing this for in case anybody joined the stream a little bit later. The on and pass was a passport, a genealogy passport. So an ancestor passport, if you want. And Nazis implemented this to make sure that there were no Jews that were able to work for as a civil servant, public servant anymore. Only pure blood Germans could do that. So they had this pass. You had to prove, if you wanted to work for the government, you had to prove you were not Jewish. You had to. Similar now today, you want to work for the government, you have to prove you do not have vaccine. You've been double jabbed. You have to prove your vaccination card. You have to have a vaccine passport to work for the government. Just like the Nazis had this passport so that Germans could work for the government. Same thing. Just because it's different time doesn't mean it's the exact same thing. The Canadian government, the Ontario government, any government in Canada, especially now BC, Manitoba, and Quebec, the three governments, the corrupt, terrible, awful governments who have now implemented the vaccine passport as their policy, have done what the Nazis did. They are doing what the Nazis did. And I'm going to stop comparing our government to the Nazis when they stop behaving like Nazis. But until then, I'm going to come on here every week and I'm going to say, the Nazis are at it again. The Canadian Nazis here are at it again. See, I'm not laughing in this stream, eh? I'm not laughing. So where are those guys that were criticizing me a few weeks ago, eh? Go, Faye, go and tell the guys who were criticizing me a few weeks ago for always laughing during my streams. Go tell them to join this one. Joad, you go tell them. All of my mods, bring on those. This is the stream where Julie's not laughing, finally. Whew. Anyways, so yeah, just I'm gonna read the comments a little bit before we get into the next portion, now that I've screamed about how we're Nazis here in Canada. we're going to look at the exemptions, the medical, the religious exemption, and I'm going to tell you guys why it's a bad idea. And but anyways, I just want to read the chat for a little bit so that I can interact with you guys, or else what's the point of me doing the live stream, right? Oh, and by the way, I'm going to record because I'm so angered about this whole Nazi thing that I'm going to do like a 5-minute video that I'm going to put on Rumble and BitChute, just talking about the Annan Pass and how the Canadian government is doing that now. Yeah, I do know a lot about the Nazis. I studied that. My favorite part in history was to study Europe. Then it was history of medicine in Europe. And then it was the Second World War. So communism, Nazism, anything around the Second World War, the tactical missions, the strategic missions, the new weapons they developed, the treatment of people, the concentration camps, also in USSR, by the way, the POW camps, not just the Nazi ones. But yeah, all of that stuff I have studied a lot. I've studied a lot of it. So I'm not going to say that I'm like a top scholar in that field, but I'm pretty close. I'm pretty good. I just don't have a really good memory. So I understand concepts, but I don't always remember like dates and when things happened exactly. So that's where I get caught on. But yeah, I understand the essence of it. So I think I saw Crit in there. I think I saw. Anyways, I hope he's in there. Crit, if you're in there, big hello, mwah, big kiss for you, Crit. Hope you're well. Okay, Linda, you're here. Linda, yeah, I love you, Linda. Thank you so much. You're always here. Awesome. I hope you're doing well. I know you had a really tough week last week. I hope you're well. Okay. Oh, how's Zach? You mean the zucchini? The zucchini got killed, guys. Snomatic. I killed the zucchini. I took a machete, and the machete was not big enough. And the zucchini was so big that my powerful machete, super sharp, was not big enough to cut it. So I took a video of that, and I'm building a small video. I'll present it later in the fall when I've made all of the cool things out of zucchini. But yes, that was a lot of fun to hack that guy up. He's gone. He gone, babe. He gone. Okay, so let's get into the exemptions. If I forgot to say hi to somebody in the chat, I'm so sorry. I see you guys in there, and sometimes my husband's like, you forgot to say hi to this person, and then I feel guilty and bad. Please, I'm not ignoring you. It goes by so fast, and I sometimes don't always see. Okay, so let's talk right now about the reason I don't think medical exemptions are the solution to this. So you can view the medical. So a lot of people are looking into obtaining a medical or a religious exemption from the vaccination. And I'll tell you why this is only a Band-Aid solution. In the long term, this won't help. And if you try to get those exemptions, you might get a small, very short-lived win right off the bat. But as you go through, they're going to come for all of us. So it's not the way to go after this. There's another example. We can go back to the Nazis for this. When the Nazis were starting to be round up, the Nazis actually, when the Jews were being round up, the Nazis were actually trying to decide, what do we do with the Jews that are married to the Germans, and then the kids of those families. What do we do in those cases? So it became that within the Jewish world in Nazi Germany emerged a class of Jews that was called privileged Jews. The privileged Jews were not so severely attacked at first. So the privileged Jews got to stay in their homes a little bit longer. They got to have their jobs a little bit longer. They got to get part of their pension once they were fired from their jobs, because they did get fired from their jobs for being Jewish, just like we're all going to get fired for our jobs for not being vaxxed. But they actually they got a little bit more time. and they weren't asking for this exemption. They just got it. They just got it by virtue of being married to somebody that was an Aryan. And the privileged Jews, one of the biggest category of privileged Jews was, so within Germany, you had a bunch of them, but you had also outside of Germany, you had the Ukrainian Jews. So the Ukrainian Jews were known to think of themselves as the creme de la creme of the Jewish people. They thought they were untouchable. And this is like actual, I'm not making this up to make Jews look bad. You guys know my feelings on the Jewish people, not at all, is that this is what the Ukrainian Jews used to say. So you go back to articles, you go back to the stuff they were writing back in the days, the 30s and 40s. The Ukrainian Jews would actually put out articles and have speeches in their synagogues where they would say, well, we're the Ukrainian Jews, so they're not going to come after us. So that was kind of the mentality. Until I think it was 1943 or 44, they went after them. And the Ukrainian Jews there were no mercy on them. They were put in the same concentration camps and killed the same way. So this is just to show you that we may think it's a short win, but in the bigger picture, you're not winning anything by getting a medical exemption for the passport. What needs to happen now? And this is where we get to more the solution part of this whole thing. Now is the time to fight. But fight the government, fight all of this. We can do this a few ways, and I think we should do all of them. If we can only do a few of them at a time, fine, better than nothing. But we need to try to get as many of the vaxxed people on our side as well, but not go into any restaurant, gym, anything like that says you must be vaccinated. We need to immediately stop going there. Immediately. And from a financial perspective, if you're a restaurant owner, assume 80% of the people are going to get the vaccine passport. Can you really afford to live and function on 80% of what you had before, right? So I don't know, like most restaurants fail, almost all of them. So in that capacity, do you really want to operate at 80% for the rest of time because you're going to go along with what the government says? What else is the government going to tell you to do? You've just given them the ability to manage your restaurant for you. Same thing for bars, same thing for clubs, gyms, whatever, like arenas, all of it. Basically, if you let the government do this to you, you are letting them dictate whatever they want. So they can come next time and say, whatever, like we want you to hire this kind of server, and we want you to sell your burger at $6, and then the restaurant owner will go, well, if I sell it at $6, I actually lose money. I need to sell it at $12 to make money. And the government will say, no, you $6. And then you'll have the same price fixing that you had in Cuba, where you're forced to sell something at a loss, and eventually you go down, you go under. You can't operate like this. So a message to any small business owner: you need to get on board now with the freedom train, because if you don't, you will get ushered out. So hopefully the business owners can be on our side and either say, we're not supporting this whole vaccine passport garbage, everybody's welcome into our restaurant. Or if the restaurants around you are not doing that, and I pick on the restaurants, but I really mean all businesses that are doing this, any place you can go that says you need a vaccine passport to come in here, we need to treat them the same way. And you say, I'm going to go somewhere else. Thanks, buddy. It was nice seeing your entrance here. I will leave and go somewhere else. And there are restaurants and places that will allow unvaxxed. If we need to go black market, guys, we're going to go black market. My husband and I were actually thinking, maybe we should start an underground black market restaurant for all of the, so everybody's welcome here, because I refuse to do the whole, if you're vaccinated, you can't come. Everybody would be welcome. It's kind of like the prohibition again, right? Let's bring back the prohibition, the underground restaurants where people can secretly go and eat dinner. So anyways, we need to fight back on that front. We need to not get those medical exemptions. Just say, don't acknowledge the passport. Don't do anything with this passport. Don't acknowledge it. Just go about your life and punish the people who do acknowledge it. And this is our only way out of it. The alternative is we go along with this. Government gets more and more power. It's been done before. We're going to live 20, 30 years of communism, absolute hellhole. We're going to descend into the absolute chaos that we've ever seen. Multiple millions of people are going to die, not from COVID, but from communism. And at that point, a couple generations down, they're going to fight and take their country back because it always crashes. Communism, Nazism. Hitler was not doing well even before the US stepped in to try to help the Allies. He decided to go on two fronts at the same time, and he couldn't do it. He had lost too many soldiers. He was effed. So all these regimes, all these mega personalities, tyrants that are associated with them, they always fall eventually. They fall. USSR fell because of Chernobyl, right? Where the West went like, what the hell are you guys doing down there? And that started to chip away, and the reality of communism came out. And that's when eventually it led to the fall of communism. So it's one of the starting plug things, right? So we need to do that. This is what we either wait and do 30 years of communism here in Canada, guys, and it's not going to be pretty. I can tell you that. Or we can actually fight. And now is the time to fight. Now is the time to get out there. Now, protest is also very good. A lot of people are kind of like iffy on that. Like, should I protest? Should I not? What's it going to do to protest? Well, at least it shows the government that we're serious, that we're not happy with the way they're doing things, and it scares them. We should protest at their homes, right? I don't know why we go to the buildings. Who cares about the buildings? Go to their house. That's what I think. There is a little bit of good news that I came across. Let me show you this. The Toronto Police Association. Let me see if I can find this article. They came out with a tweet yesterday that said they are not going to enforce the COVID passports. Association. Okay, hold on. Please. Association won't enforce. Okay, let me see if I can find that. Okay. I don't know if I can find it, guys. Oh, actually here. Yeah, I did. Hold on. Let me show you. See if we can find it. But see these guys here? I don't know if I can find the tweet, but they actually said they're not going to enforce any of this. Let me see if I can go back to it. I should have saved it when I saw it. But anyways, if any of you guys know about it, you can try to put a link. Can you guys put a link in the chat? I don't know if you can. Only the mods can. But I'm pretty sure I saw that. Maybe one of you guys know. Was it the Toronto Police Association or was it some other association? But anyways, that's good news. That's good news when the law enforcement has one of their branches coming out saying we're not going to go in and enforce this. Okay. Before I go for more good news, I wanted to show you something to give you a few places to go. If you're not on Telegram, I highly recommend that you download the app and join a few groups on there. I mentioned that at the start of the stream today. But Telegram, so it's an app and it's a chat app. Crit has his own Telegram on there. Go join his group. It's called the Crit Crew. And there's a bunch of other ones. So I'm just going to give you the ones that I follow because it might help you get a starting point. And you'll see that the people in there are actually give you links to branch out to all sorts of other Telegram accounts that you can follow. So one of them that I found that I follow is called the Ontario Mask Vax Free Employment. You can go check that one out. So Ontario Mask / Vax Free Employment. And these guys are super awesome because there are people in there looking for jobs, stating they're unvaxxed, and there's people that are also trying to recruit. So it's a really good one to go into. There's another one called Oppose Vaccine Mandates. I think that one is the Adam Skelly one, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, here. Phil, you're back. Hello, Phil. So TPA, yeah. So, okay, so it was the TPA. So that's Toronto Police Association. I couldn't find the tweet here live on air, but yeah, I remember that they did say they were not going to enforce that. I don't know if their tweet was taken down, but whatever. So anyways, okay, another one that I follow this is a very interesting one you might want to follow on Telegram. They're called Healthcare Workers Oppose Oppose vaccine mandates. So healthcare workers oppose vaccine mandates. These guys, you'll see nurses in there, doctors, so many people trying to understand how they can fight this because they don't want to be mandated to take a vaccination. So these are, and it's really good information you get in there. You'll get a lot of information before it even hits the news. So I learned about the Air Canada mandated vaccination before it even hit the news because of these groups, because you have people who work in those places are actually tweeting out, posting out what their HR emails coming in are saying. So it's a very interesting one. They'll post videos that they come across. It's really, really interesting and very encouraging to see that, because when you're only in the news, the whole mainstream media is the world dominated by fear, because fear is the most potent element in order to get submission from large population. So this is why fear is always invoked. So it's always Delta variant. Oh, there's going to be more variants. It's going to be worse. The vaccines won't work and we're going to need 18 boosters. We need to vaccinate you until you're 85. It's right. This is going to be insane. You need 6 vaccines a year. It gets a little bit much when you only see the mainstream media. And it's all about fear in there. So anyways, it's very nice to see that these are just everyday people just concerned about their life, just wanting to do the right thing, but they just don't want to have the government push something on them. They don't want their employer to force vaccinate them. This is the only kind of the only outlet where I actually see, aside from us here as well, but where I see people going in there and actually talking about what's happening within their environments. So very, very interesting. Now, 2 weeks ago, we talked about Nuremberg. It's coming, guys. It's coming. The corruption. See, the truth always has a way to find its way out. See, it's like in the X-Files. The truth is out there, okay? The truth always comes to the surface eventually. The question is, how long is it going to take for the truth to emerge in this situation, in the situation we're in right now? And I'm seeing more and more glimmers of light. The more I look in these chat boards, the more I realize so many people are against this that it makes me wonder, the official narrative from the government that 75% are vaccinated doesn't sound right anymore. Why is there such a push if there are already 75 that are vaccinated? Why worry about the rest, the quarter that's left? It's very, very nice to see that the truth is kind of beaming out of these elements. So just encouraging, just in case you're kind of like slowly going around the black pill zone, this might get you out of there. Okay, let me make sure I talked about everything I wanted to talk. Oh yeah, so the fight, we have to fight now. I just want to quickly finish on that. If we get medical exemptions, to me, this is kind of a dilution of our fighting power. And we're in the resistance now. We don't have the luxury of diluting anything. We need as much power as we possibly can get. So you can't, by diluting this, by not having, by getting yourself an exemption instead of fighting, which will get you in the same spot as somebody who doesn't have an exemption just 1 month later. But if you do that, basically every time somebody does that, the resistance will be taken out of the resistance movement. We shouldn't do that. That's not the right way to go. So anyways, let me see if I have anything else here. I wrote notes, guys. This is how seriously I take these streams. The section of the freedom of charter of freedoms, section 7 and sections 15 seem to be the ones that are attacked by this vaccine passport. So you guys can go check that out, read the Section 7 and Section 15. And essentially, the vaccine passport, because it's doing one system for the vaxxed and one system for the non-vaxxed, it makes it so that it's automatic coercion. And because it's no longer a choice. You no longer have a choice. If you want to go to work, you must be vaxxed. If you want to go to a movie, you must be vaxxed. So to me, this is against Canadian law, because Canadian law does not allow coercion by any authority possible. By no authority can coerce you. So doctors, nurses, government, no authority can coerce you into getting medical intervention you do not want. This is our law. It's Canadian law. And there's also the other part of if you're being assaulted. So you have a right not to be assaulted, not to have people touch your body. Like you have the right to go into a bus and not have like 6 guys come up and feel you up and pat your butt, right? So the same rule and law of assault applies here, where you have the right to not have somebody jab your body with a needle. You have that right, and it's a Canadian federally law. It's a law. It's a federal law. So it's not. So every time you see mandate, people need to remember this is not the law. You do not have to go for it. It sucks that some of us are going to lose our jobs. It sucks that we can't go eat at a restaurant and go out for a while. But we need to fight this right now, because later on, it's going to be a far harder fight to have. The time is now. We cannot dilute our resources. All the strong people have to stand together at this point. Stay strong. Join the Telegram groups that I mentioned, because you'll see all these other people just trying to do the right thing, just don't want to be bothered and don't want to be jabbed. They just want to keep working. They're all in the same boat we are. And it's very, very uplifting to see that there's numbers in our position. It's not just me and you guys here on the chat. There's many, many people who before this were just going about their job and now are put into the position in the last few weeks where now their employers are coming out with these mandates. And lawyers are even in those chats starting to say, you don't have to do this. People are posting the answers they get from their lawyers. This is how I know that there's a law in Canada against assault and there is a law of consent. This is how I know, because I learned through Telegram, through people who have approached lawyers and pasted the email that they get back. This is how I know. So anyways, just stay strong. We can do this. Communism will always fall, no matter where it starts, where it'll fall. It's just a matter of we need to make it fall now. We don't want to go through 20 years of this. Nobody else loved it. And we don't want to be the ones to try it out yet another time. So anyways, guys, that's it for me today. Hopefully it was a little bit more of an uplifting chat than last time. But anyways, we'll see. Let me know what you know. Let me know what you think. I love reading your comments, even if you guys just put a hello in the comment section to let me know you were there. I love seeing how many people were there, and anyways, what you guys think. So anyways, stay strong. We're gonna win this. The light always shines. The truth always comes out. I love you all. Thank you so much for staying for this whole stream, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye, everyone.